So I'm back. So shout out to all the Aquarius out there. We still in the Aquarius season. So today I'm doing the famous Aquarius, and that's Oprah. If you don't know who Oprah is, she's a famous media giant. She had one of the most successful talk shows of all time. Um, we're saying that it was the highest rated television show in history, and it was on the air for 25 years. You know, Oprah, the first African American female billionaire, the second um, African American billionaire. No, they say first black billionaire, but it was actually the owner of BET that was actually the first black billionaire, but she was the first African American billionaire. So most people know Oprah. She have her own channel. She done produced movies, starred in movies like The Color Purple. Most of us know who Oprah is. So Oprah was born January 29th, 1954 in Mississippi. She just turned 72 years old. And getting into her chart, Oprah is a sun in Aquarius, moon in Sagittarius, Mercury in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Mars is Scorpio, Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Scorpio, Uranus in Cancer, Neptune in Libra, Pluto in Leo, North Node in Capricorn, Left in Libra, and then her rising sign is a Taurus. So getting into her chart, um, like I like to say, every video, if you're new into astrology, every planet represents something different. Most people just know their sun sign. Your sun sign is just your core identity. It's who you identify as. That's why when most people look up their birthday and look up their sign, they feel that connection. Um, because it's basically your identity. So you identify at your core with who the sign or what these traits is. So for sun sign in Aquarius, you most Aquarius will identify as being a detached, aloof, more mental than emotional, more logical than emotional, intelligent. All Aquarius can kind of feel like a nerd to a certain degree, a outcast. Most Aquarius can feel different than everyone else. Either feel weird or unique. And then so that's some of the things that Aquarius and that people who are Aquarius, they're going to be able to identify with and connect with. So your moon sign is your feelings. So when it comes to emotions and emotionally reacting to something, that's gonna be your moon sign, whatever it is. Your Mercury gonna be your communication style, how you communicate. Your Venus is your love language. So a lot of people look at astrology for compatibility, but mostly look at their sun sign. But that just gonna tell if your core identity lines up, such as okay, we both air signs, so we both value mental stimulation, but your Venus is going to be your love language in terms of how you receive love, how you give love. And then your Mars sign is your aggression. So your Mars determine your sexual energy, if you sexually compatible with somebody, and it's your aggression. So it can determine if you a go-getter, if you lazy, if you scattered, have a scattered, if you lose focus easily, all of that can be determined by your Mars. But getting into Sun in Aquarius could be years in the Aquarius. So starting Aquarius season. So starting with that. So like I said earlier, every sign is ruled by a planet. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of friendship, technology, forward thinking, sudden events, revolution. So Aquarius get associated with all them things that I name. Aquarius is the sign of friendship. They is the sign of rebellion, being rebellious. They is the sign of humanitarian, um, being humanitarian. They are the signs of technology. So a lot of Aquarius are good with technology, pattern recognition, and things like that. So, and then, like I said, also Aquarius is also an air sign, just like Libra and Gemini. So all air signs is dealing with communication and the mental. You look at water signs dealing with emotion, earth signs dealing with being grounded, earthly things, stability, fire signs dealing with passion. So Aquarius is definitely mental people, people that like to communicate. And then, like I said, also Aquarius a lot of times come off as attached or aloof. Um, they probably the least clingy sign when it comes to clinginess. Aquarius don't like clingy things or clingy people. They like to be kind of free to do their own thing. All air signs kind of share that in common too, because think about it, it's the air. We know air likes to be free and everywhere. So it doesn't really like to be contained. So Aquarius is also a fixed sign. So there's fixed, mutable, and cardinal signs. We know cardinal signs is initiating, fixed, obviously it's like it sound is fixed, so more so stuck in their ways. Mutable is like it sounds is ever changing. So Aquarius is fixed air. So there's like fixed fire, which is Leo, fixed water, which is Scorpio, and then fixed earth, which is Taurus. So how it relates with air is that Aquarius is fixed mentally. So they're stuck in their thoughts. It's hard to change the Aquarius mind versus like Taurus is fixed earth. So it's fixed when it comes to stability. That's why Taurus can hold down a job longer than anyone or a relationship. Scorpio is fixed water. So it's fixated on their emotions and and it's hard to change the way that a Scorpio feels about something. And then, Leo is fixed fire, so it's stuck in the way that it feels about certain things like passion. It's fixed like it's the sun, so the sun sits in the middle of earth. It's stable fire, like they say, you could look at a Leo like kind of like a bonfire or a fire that's, in one place. And that's why Leos can be considered the most loyal fire sign. But so yeah, Aquarius is really stuck in their thoughts. It's hard to change their mind. That's why they love debating. So that's some of the things about Aquarius. So I'm gonna read the breakdown that it says. So it says Aquarians tend to be friendly, original, intuitive, broad-minded, non-conforming, different, independent, freedom-loving, scientific, unusual, and helpful. They can also be impersonal, unpredictable, tactless, rebellious, unconventional, stubborn, rigid, radical, bohemian, and eccentric. Aquarians, like any work which calls for inventiveness and the detached application of special rules or formulate formative. Aquarians seek to share knowledge with others in order to bring about a better life for all. Group activity is their customary mode of operation. Helping others so they can help themselves appeals to an Aquarian. Aquarians are friendly yet detached. They have warmth, yet they seem distant. Although appearing cold or aloof, they are not really indifferent to others. It's just that they are much more concerned with humanity as a whole rather than any one particular individual. Since Aquarians generally do not have large or stuffy egos, they rarely bother to exert themselves to win approval or compliments. Aquarians get excited about bringing new ideas and methods into old traditional systems. They are physiological, visionary, and idealistic. Feelings of friendship drive them to try to improve the lot of everyone they can. So what is they? Because lot don't try to improve the lot of everyone they can. That don't make sense, but that's what it says. But anyway, sometimes the people they want to help don't understand these new ways and react negatively towards them. Sometimes Aquarians are simply ahead of their time, although sometimes they are just cranks. Aquarians have the determination and persistence to get ahead, but sometimes their energy level is relatively low, which causes them to drop projects before they are completed. Their minds are analytical and scientific, and they have the ability to think things through to an accurate conclusion. Although they generally have good powers of concentration and are able to assimilate a lot of information, there are times when they are just plain absent-minded. Aquarians usually get along well with others. They are generally not gossips, nor are they petty. They do not like arguments unless they feel there is a need to defend a person, an ideal, or a principle. Since Aquarians are so willing to listen to the new and different, they have little patience with those who refuse to hear new concepts. Sometimes Aquarians rebel just for the pleasure of it. They have been known to deliberately do things in an attempt to shock people. Most Aquarians prefer not to be bound by schedules and regulations, but can easily adapt to them if they must, but don't expect them to always be on time for things. Aquarians dislike people who are possessive of them, since they are generally not possessive of people or things themselves. They give others a lot of personal freedom and they expect the same in return. Since they are not particularly concerned as to what other people think of them, they often do not bother forming opinions about other people's behavior. In love, Aquarians want an intellectual companion with whom they can communicate. They can be hesitant about making total commitments, such as marriage or any other form of partnership, because of their desire for independence. However, when the Aquarian marries, the marriage is usually stable. They are loyal and faithful to their marriage partner, but are not prone to excessive displays of affection, especially in public. So yeah, that's definitely all things about Aquarius. I am Aquarius and Dane. The breakdown, they hit on something I didn't even know that relates to me. Like they say, don't expect for them to be on time. I didn't know that that was even an Aquarius thing, but I'm not on time for nothing. That was my main problem when I had jobs and 9 to 5s and stuff. Is being on time was never for me. And then, but like they say that don't like to be bound by a schedule or regulations, which is true. Like to live my life free flowing and kind of how I want, but I can adjust if I have to. So if I have to have a job, be on time, or if I have to do something, I will. So that's definitely very true. So all of this is definitely all Aquarius stuff. You see this with Oprah when it comes to just like you could tell like Oprah to be her age, never married, didn't have kids, like, that's something of Aquarius. And she even said because she valued her independence so much, like they say Aquarius do. Then, you see that with Oprah. Oprah is smart, independent, original, and all of the things of Aquarius. Oprah definitely is a Aquarius for sure. And then what else? Share to seek knowledge, can be rebellious, unconventional. That's another thing. So it can be unconventional when it comes to relationships and things like that. And can be stubborn, definitely, like I was getting to with being fixed in their thoughts. So definitely, that's definitely all things of Aquarius for sure. And we definitely can see all of this when it comes to Oprah. So next is her moon in Sagittarius. So fun fact, real quick, Oprah and Michael Jordan both share the same sun and moon sign. Michael Jordan is also Aquarius, a sun in Aquarius, moon in Sagittarius. They just so happen to both be billionaire black, people. So, I just want to point out that crazy coincidence. But like I said earlier, your moon is your feelings, how you emotionally react to things. So hers is a Sagittarius. We know Sagittarius is a fire sign like Aries and Leo. So, all fire signs is dealing with passion, being passionate, impulsive, brave. There's some of the things that all of the fire signs share in common with each other. What's unique about Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter's the planet of travel. So a lot of Sagittarius love traveling, love learning. Um, Jupiter's the planet of expansion and good luck. So a lot of Sagittarius do have good luck or they good when it comes to, a lot of Sagittarius are huge gamblers and big gamblers a la Michael Jordan. But a lot of them do have good luck. Sagittarius is just like Aquarius, and this can speak to why Oprah is the way that she is. So I always say Aquarius and Sagittarius, are both the most like the hardest signs to tie down. They both signs love their freedom. They hate to be told what to do. They hate to be tied down. So that makes sense with Oprah having a sun and moon and Aquarius and Sagittarius. Then you see she got Mercury and Venus in Aquarius. So of course this is not somebody who likes to be tied down. They love their independence. Um so that's also something about Sagittarius because Sagittarius is represented by, they know for wandering, they like the traveler is with the Sagittarius. So like they like to explore, gain knowledge, and live free and kind of live wild. So that's things about Sagittarius. So what it says is Oprah Winfrey is independent, outspoken, open, generous, enthusiastic, idealistic, inspired, and optimistic, and these qualities attract many friends and acquaintances. Oprah Winfrey seems to thrive on travel, sociability, fellowship, and expressing her opinions to whoever will listen. In addition, she is adventurous, playful, freedom-loving, and always ready for a good time. Oprah Winfrey rarely allows difficulties to keep her down, for no matter how bleak the past or present, she always expects a better, brighter future. In fact, she is uncomfortable with her own or other people's problems and emotional pain. Oprah Winfrey often tries to cheer up or offer a philosophical advice to those who are hurting, but wittingly she avoids or ignores the emotions involved. Friendship means a great deal to her, perhaps even more than love or romance. For Oprah to be happy, her mate must be her best friend and encourage her aspirations and ideals. Oprah Winfrey also needs a great deal of emotional freedom and mobility. On the negative side, Oprah Winfrey may be rather intolerant, closed-minded, dogmatic, arrogant, non-objective, risk-taking, or possess a holier-than-thou attitude. So that's definitely all things about Sagittarius for sure. So this one it speaks to Oprah, like both her sun and moon kind of go together because it's air and fire. You know, air goes with fire. So this would lead her to be an extra, like I said, overly independent, but then social, because Sagittarius definitely is a social sign, an outspoken sign. So this is where you get the Oprah that's more outgoing and like to talk and express herself. And, like kind of the fun sign of Oprah comes from her moon in Sagittarius. And then, her job, she, able to travel a lot, of course. And then the optimism, that's what I would say about Sagittarius too, is that Sagittarius' biggest strength is their biggest weakness, and that's their optimism. So on the bright side, like they said, that's why this person is never down. We know that Oprah went through, I think, being homeless and other things. So it kept her being optimistic to never be down or to give up on life. That's the bright side about the Sagittarius. But on the negative side is that it leads to a grass is greener mentality. So a lot of Sagittarius hop from relationship to relationship, thinking that there's always something better, or they just always think things gonna figure itself out, and that can backfire when things don't figure themselves out. Like Sagittarius can be the type of people who don't have a plan B and C. They think that they plan A is always going to work. So that can be the negative side of things. So yeah, that's her moon in Sagittarius. So next is Mercury in Aquarius. So like I said earlier, Mercury is the planet of communication. It's your communication style, also your thought process, how you think. So ruled by Gemini and Venus. So every planet is ruled by a sign. So if your planet is ruled, if the planet is rules that sign, you usually do good in that area. So people with Mercury and Gemini is going to be usually the best talkers. A lot of Mercury and Gemini make music. Same for Mercury and Virgo. The moon is ruled by Cancer. So a lot of people with moon and Cancers are good when it comes to feelings and emotions and connecting with other people, feelings and emotions. Venus is ruled by Libra and Taurus. So a lot of Libra and Taurus, are both partnership orientated. So I also wanted to just throw that out there also. But her Mercury is in Aquarius. So not only is her core identity Aquarius, but then her thought process that is that of Aquarius in her communication style. So of course that's going to mean that She's going to communicate. Her communication is going to be can be detached, intellectual, real, intellectual, scientific. She can for the kind of talk like a nerd. What else? Think she could definitely be fixed in her thoughts because we know that this is thought process. So the way that she thinks is going to be fixed in nature. It can be, you know, difficult to change her mind. And then she's going to be unique and original also when it comes to her communication. So her communication style could be unique or different from everyone else's. And then it's still an air sign, so it does good when it comes to communication because we know air signs want to communicate. So that's probably, that's why she has her well, she had her talk show where she gets to talk to people and relate to people and communicate. So that makes sense with Mercury and Aquarius. So what it says. So it says, Oprah Winfrey's thoughts tend to be unique, unusual, rapid, and coming completely out the blue. Erratic, unconventional, scientific, weird, and perhaps a bit ahead of their time. Oprah Winfrey is progressive and non-traditional thinker and is very open and receptive to new technologies and breakthroughs and the latest discoveries in any field. Oprah Winfrey believes that humanity can resolve its problems through creative intelligence using inventive minds, and scientific principles. Oprah Winfrey is a bit impatient with those who are conservative and unimaginative, and those who are afraid perhaps to think about and try new things and ideas. Oprah Winfrey enjoys keeping up with the latest innovations and technologies. Reading science fiction helps Oprah Winfrey food for thought regarding radically new ways of looking at things. Oprah Winfrey has a strong humanitarian impulse, an aptitude for organization, and she enjoys being involved in cooperative group efforts or businesses that are contemporary and innovative. Oprah Winfrey has a versatile, disciplined, practical, and original mind. Oprah Winfrey is intuitive and resourceful, with the ability to correctly judge human character and penetrate the mask that others wear. Oprah Winfrey follows her own conventions regardless of what others think of her, and she has the ability to express her ideas clearly so that others comprehend them. On the negative side, Oprah Winfrey can be erratic, bohemian, radical, revolutionary, and stubborn. So yeah, definitely you can see how this all relates to Oprah. Then we get back into the humanitarian impulse. Oprah became kind of big from one of the main things about her show is that she gave away stuff. She was one of the first ones to give away cars and give away stuff. So that's getting back into her humanitarian spirit and her thought process being an Aquarius. And then she kind of was revolutionary in what she did with her talk show. Like they said, it lasted for a long time. She kind of did revolutionize TV and things like that. So that definitely shows up in her Mercury and Aquarius for sure. And then connected with people, because her talk show, she talked to people, talked about a lot of different issues, gave her opinion on things, all things like they said about Mercury and Aquarius. So definitely could see the Mercury and Aquarius when it comes to Oprah for sure. Next is her Venus in Aquarius. So I already explained Venus earlier. That's about your love language, your how you connect romantically. So that's also in Aquarius. So we know again about Aquarius. Aquarius is more so about friends first. I actually have a Venus in Aquarius also. So I know that we attracted to friendship, people that we look at like you like with a Venus in Aquarius or Aquarius is like they want like their best like their lover or their partner to be their best friend basically. I know a lot of people feel that way, but Aquarius literally do um blur the lines and really feel that way intensely. And then Venus Aquarius is also detached and aloof, so they not gonna do good with overly clingy relationships. Somebody's trying to possess them, somebody being clingy. They need freedom in a relationship. So that's definitely a big thing. And then they need mental stimulation. Of course, they need somebody who they mentally is compatible with for the most part. So that's how a Venus in Aquarius kind of is. So I'm gonna read what it says. So it says Oprah Winfrey affections are expressed in an open, unconventional, and rather detached way. Socializing, bringing people together, and having many friends and acquaintances very much appeal to Oprah Winfrey. Because Oprah Winfrey values friendship so highly, she may be more comfortable being a friend than a lover. One thing's for sure, Oprah Winfrey highly dislikes possessive, clingy relationships. Oprah Winfrey wants to be free to do whatever she wants with whomever she likes. Oprah Winfrey wants an intellectual or spiritual connection with her partner, and this may even be the preferred substitute over a very intimate or emotional binding. Oprah Winfrey needs a partner who will give her plenty of freedom, allowing her to be her own person and not too demanding emotionally. Oprah Winfrey is charming, happy, and original, but also cool, calm, and detached. The detachment is beneficial because she, as a rule, is never possessive of people or things. The feelings Oprah Winfrey has tend to be filtered through her mind and, and intellectualized. Oprah Winfrey needs to learn warmth and understanding. So yeah, all the things that I said. Then of course, just relating back to what I said earlier about Oprah not caring to be married, really wanting a friend because they always said that Stedman kind of is her lifetime friend or lifetime friend. So it can speak to the Venus and the Aquarius, like she don't need to be in a relationship. She don't need like that. Because when people get married and relationship, it has more so to do with being, clingy, wanting to bond with that person. And she doesn't need that. So that explains the way that she is a lot. That's unconventional. And then so we gonna get into actually they already got Stedman chart up here because we know that this is her lifetime partner. So is Stedman the only person that she dated? Damn, since 1986. What's that, 40 years they didn't been together? Yeah, because it's 2026. So, no, no, yeah. Yeah, like 40 years they've been together. Dang. So, they met at a charity event. So this is really the only person she really been linked to. With to be together for 40 years and never married or having kids is crazy. And then he don't have no kids. Okay, he do have kids. Okay. He was married before, and then he had a kid with his first wife in 1975. So like 9 years before they met. Uh, Okay, so and getting into Stedman chart, he was born March 6, 1951, 74, he's 74 years old. And then dang. So his chart is a Pisces overload. So Sun in Pisces, Moon in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, Venus in Aries, Mars in Aries. So on the scale, they actually is not compatible. This is probably the most incompatible chart that I've seen because Pisces and Aquarius definitely don't go together. That can be toxic. It can work in terms of attraction, cause me being Aquarius, and studying Aquarius and Pisces relationship, you look at like an iced tea and cocoa. I don't know what the rest of their chart is, a Blueface and Christian Rock, we know how toxic that was. And then I didn't dated Pisces. So it can be attraction there, but it's water and air. So it's feelings versus mental. That's one of the hardest things to kind of to deal with. It's kind of like oil and water. So they sun sign's not compatible, then they moon signs is not because we're dealing with water and fire. So, water wash out fire. So they're not compatible there either. Mercury is water versus air. So their communication style is way different. He communicate emotionally. She does logically. So the one part where they are compatible is that it's Venus and Aries and Venus and Aquarius. So it's air and fire. Aquarius and Aries get along great. So they love language and compatibility is there. Air feeds off fire and then night fire. So they love language is the same. That is compatible. So that's kind of the one saving grace. Because I did say when you look at Venus, I mean when you look at compatibility, your Venus, Moon, and Mars is probably the top three with your sun sign rounding out the big four. Because people look at your sun sign to be the most compatible, but it's probably the least of the four. It matters. Um, but first you have to kind of look at your Venus because that's your love language, then your moon sign, because feelings and relationships is about emotions. So you have to look if y'all compatible emotionally. And then Mars is your sexual energy. So y'all can be compatible in other areas, but the sex can be off, or the sex can be good, but with Mars, this is where you get hookups, like to where you could be good with somebody as a situationship or a sex only. That's probably because y'all Mars connect, but y'all Moon and y'all Sun and everything else might not line up because, or especially your Venus, because y'all love language should be different, or y'all feelings would be different, or how y'all identify would be different with the Sun sign. But if y'all are able to get through that, the sexual energy can work. So, because when it's sun is last, because sun matters because it's like I said, core identity. So, if I'm a air sign dating an air sign, we both gonna identify as air sign. So we both gonna be looked at as communicative, mental type of people, and that's where we would connect that. And then the same for two fire signs, we both gonna be looked at as passionate and fiery and outgoing. Like an Aries would be attracted to a Sagittarius because they like their boldness and their outgoingness, the same, that Aries will. So the elements that's identify earth signs go with earth signs because we both identify with stability, and things like that. And then when it comes to like air with fire, air ignites fire. So air signs look at fire signs as exciting and able to bring their ideas to life. Then fire signs look at air signs as creative. So, and then the same with earth and water. Earth signs still create stability. Water nurtures the earth. So that's how that kind of goes. But yeah, but back to their chart. So Venus and Aries, so they are compatible when it comes to love language and when it comes to their love language. And then Mars, hers is in Scorpio. So that's the tricky part because then we back to water versus fire. So that's typically not compatible. But unique thing about astrology is that Scorpio used to be ruled by Mars before Pluto was discovered, and Aries and Scorpio share they like double-edged swords because they both are extremely passionate and intense. One is just fire, and one is more water. So which means that Scorpios is more intense inward, Aries is more intense outwards. So, but they are both intense. So it could be a tricky relationship when it comes to Mars, because because they both are passionate people. One is just outward, one is just inward. So, so the Mars that one is kind of tricky. So, and then rising sign I forgot to bring up is your social personality is how you view people, how people view you. So that does matter when it comes to compatibility also because it's how you view the person. I think hers was in Taurus, right? So Taurus and Cancer go together. So they could be attracted to each other. So for the most part, that could be maybe why they didn't get married or it could just really be because of Oprah chart. But And Aries crave their independence also. So, they both independent, but his chart more so screens somebody who wants to be in a relationship because Pisces is probably the most romantic sign. Pisces love romance. They love relationship. They love love. They want a story, a fairy tale type of relationship. So, he could have more so wanted, I guarantee it's probably more so Oprah that didn't want to get married or do it than him. But, overall, they not compatible. They is compatible in kind of the one place where it does matter, the Venus, but everything else is kind of iffy. So that could kind of explain more so why. And they can even notice behind the scenes stuff why they can know like they're better as friends, better on that type of level. They can because they know the problems in their relationship. So they might know that they're not fully compatible like that. So it's kind of like a situation of convenience. And then, like I said, with Oprah being a Venus and Aquarius, like they said that Aquarius want to date their best friend and they like their friends, and then that they met because he was her manager? Well, they met at a charity event, but then oh no, he was a businessman in Arthur. Oh, they was engaged in 1992, but then Oprah later explained that the marriage would have likely ended their relationship. So basically back to what I said is that Oprah even knew that if they was to get married, they not really compatible and it wouldn't have worked on the surface. So they decided that they better off as friends. So and then neither one been linked to anyone else. So they probably just made that pact only being with each other. So yeah, that also makes sense. So next is her Mars and Scorpio. So I already explained earlier, Mars is your aggression, and your everyday aggression, and passion, and sexual desire. So hers is in Scorpio. We know that Scorpio is a water sign like Pisces and Cancer, so dealing with the feelings and emotions. But we know Scorpio ruled by Pluto. It gets associated with all of the negative things in astrology, such as being jealous and possessive, and jealous, possessive, and controlling. But Scorpios are also one of the most hard-working signs. Mars and Scorpio is a good placement. The best placement is like a Mars and Capricorn, because Capricorn is ambitious, but Scorpio does good because Scorpios is good on tunnel vision. They're obsessed over things. So I always say Scorpios, a lot of times their biggest strength is their biggest weakness. So just like I said about Sagittarius optimism, Scorpio's biggest strength and weakness is they obsession. So it's negative because they become obsessed with relationships and people, which cause them to become manipulative and jealous and crash out. But then on the positive side, now I know this from dating a lot of Scorpios having Scorpio friends is that they can become obsessed with a project. So if they put their mind to something, for example, I had a friend who was a Scorpio and he was like obsessed with a video game, like he would finish a video. He was one of the people who could finish a video game in a couple days. Like he'll play it beginning to end. He would watch a series. Let's say he discovered a new series. He able to watch it start to finish. Let's say it's 10 seasons to the series. He'll watch all 10. Like, it'll take him a couple days, but throughout, he's able to like fixate on one thing and be obsessed with it versus to show you the difference. I'm a Mars and Gemini, so it's naturally different because Gemini is all about stimulation and variety. So kind of really the opposite of Scorpio. So I can't do like I can if I would be forcing my, but I'm more so the type person who like to play a bunch of different games. Like I won't lock in on one game and just finish that game. I'll end up finishing, but I'll be playing 3, 4 different games within the midst of playing that game versus playing it start to finish. So let's say both of us, he playing Grand Theft Auto. We both playing Grand Theft Auto. he will finish the story before I do, and he would wake up every day, play Grand Theft Auto, master it, and finish it. Me, I will be playing Grand Theft Auto, but I'll also be playing Call of Duty, 2K, Madden, like, because it's Gemini, I need variety. I need, you know, um, well, variety. So I needed different things. I don't like to just be stuck on one thing forever. I get sidetracked and I like to spread my energy. So that's how Mars related his Mars and Scorpio relates. And then this is where the kind of the conflict comes in her chart because everything else is air and fire. This is just the where the one um Earth ends up coming in. I mean not Earth, I mean water ends up coming in. And then she well the rest that's what I'm about to say. The rest of her chart screams independence and being free, but we know Scorpio is about bonding and deep bonding with somebody and being obsessed with somebody. So her natural energy, and then I could kind of speak to her being with Stedman is that she can lock in and be obsessed with one thing, and that could be anything from work to a relationship. But you could kind of see this with her work. That's probably why she could have kept the same talk show for 25 years. Tunnel vision and focus and determined on that. You can see that, with her energy. So this is kind of the anchor in her chart that kind of goes against like the Aquarius and the Sagittarius. This is the one placement that does make her kind of more stable and focused on one thing because Aquarius and Sagittarius is kind of going to be more free and all over the place. So what it says about Mars and Scorpio, Oprah Winfrey is extremely strong-willed and she pursues her goals and desires with passionate dedication and determination. Oprah Winfrey is capable of total concentration and tremendous discipline. And she is very difficult to influence once her mind is made up. When Oprah Winfrey wants something, she can be very one-sided and almost obsessed with it. Oprah Winfrey tends to be secretive and she does not want others to know what her plans are. Oprah Winfrey tends to be instinctive, perceptive, determined, strong-willed, stubborn, and magnetic. Oprah Winfrey has deep emotions and may occasionally show a a primative side. Oprah Winfrey needs to learn self-discipline or her desired nature will rule her life, probably causing great sorrow in the end. Oprah Winfrey must learn to control her jealousy and possessiveness in matters of love. A certain amount of detachment in relationship would be probably good, and this, of course, would include her tendency to treat loved ones as possessions. Oprah Winfrey is very forceful and quiet and subtle way in very quiet in subtle way, and others may have difficulty in seeing or understanding her motives. Oprah Winfrey can manipulate people in a way that is not obvious to them or others. Direct confrontation with others is not Oprah Winfrey's preferred style. Oprah Winfrey likes operating behind the scenes. In any case, Oprah Winfrey is a formidable opponent when riled. In matters of health, Oprah Winfrey may have a tendency towards hemorrhoids. Um, So yeah, we can definitely see this, and then like I said, this conflict. So it's kind of a nice balance, and then it can be tension because, like I said, this that she can be jealous and possessive in relationships, even though the Venus and Aquarius and the rest of the chart speaks to her not being that. So that's why I could kind of balance to where she's not overly that because the rest of her chart doesn't speak to it, but then it does make her care a little bit to where she's not completely detached and completely like not caring. And then like I already said, extremely strong-minded, strong-willed, and she pursues her goals and desires with dedication and determination. So we know that that's why she's a go-getter, a businesswoman. That's also going to speak to her North Node and Capricorn when we get to that. Um, what else? Uh, so yeah, then like they said that she can. No, it was something I was looking for. Oh, about being secretive. We know that Mars and Pluto is associated with being secretive. We know Pluto the furthest planet. So we know that Oprah is secretive to the most um for the most part, like Oprah is not a overly out there person. She more of a person just like how a lot of Aquarius is true. She likes to talk to people and get to know them. But in terms of like expressing her life, you don't get that a lot. Like, Oprah, I don't even remember the last time I seen an Oprah interview, but like Oprah is not the most open person that there is. Like she doesn't share her views all of the time. Occasionally she do. But she is secretive about a lot of stuff. Even her love, like with Stedman, a lot of that is secretive. So, that definitely does come from her Mars being in Scorpio. So next is Jupiter and Gemini. So know that Jupiter is, like I said earlier, ruled by Sagittarius, and it's the planet of expansion, um higher learning. So what really Jupiter does is that it shows how you expand and how you grow and where do you get growth from. So funny enough, hers is in Gemini. So we know Gemini, air sign like Aquarius and Libra, ruled by Mercury. Gemini is the planet of communication and that loves to communicate, loves to talk. So it makes sense. So basically what it means that she expands and she expands herself by communicating. So that can speak even more so why she loves to communicate, having a talk show, because that's how she feels growth. And that goes back to, of course, her other air sign placement. So this can also speak to, why she loves to talk and why she had her success from having a talk show. So, what it says about Jupiter and Gemini. Oprah Winfrey is clever, witty, and cheerful. Oprah Winfrey loves traveling because of the knowledge she gains from her experiences and the people she meets. There may be a natural talent for learning and speaking foreign languages. Excessive nervous energy may lead to ag- agitated speech or the tendency to talk too much or promise more than she can deliver. There can be literacy ability of a marked degree. Oprah Winfrey's mind is inventive with a love of mathematics or other abstract subjects, along with the ability to understand them. Oprah Winfrey is constantly looking for those things in life which will expand her horizons in her own mental outlook or philosophy of life. Mentally, various religions or areas of law may critique Oprah Winfrey's curiosity. So, yeah, getting back to like the things that I said is that she has a natural talent for learning and speaking foreign language. So I don't know if Oprah speaks other languages or can. I'm not sure about that. Um, but let me see. I don't know. We know Oprah did traveled around the world, but I don't know if she ever spoke on this. She loves traveling. Oprah Winfrey views travel as transformative spiritual experience that fosters self-discovery, adventure, and connection to nature. She advocates for solo travel, embracing local culture, keeping a most importantly, damn, I made a mistake and clicked on that. Uh, so she definitely has spoken love traveling. Then I know you could say everybody loves traveling. So it's kind of, but I mean, not, but then not everybody, because shockingly, I'm not, I like traveling, but I'm not huge into traveling. Like I haven't traveled around the world. It's not the biggest thing to me, but I also don't have no Sagittarius placements in my chart. But what else was I about to look at? Oh, see if she speak other languages. Primary English and is not known to fluent. Okay, so yeah, she don't speak any other language. She mentioned learning Spanish. So she has said that she wanted to learn other languages. This was in 2015, but I don't think she ever did. So yeah. So that's her Jupiter and Gemini. I actually wanted to look out, they be having the people on there look that Gale chart to see if they compatible. I usually don't do friends, but she is Oprah long term, long time friend and everything like that. So She is a Capricorn. Oh, she's a sun in Capricorn, moon in Aquarius, Mercury in Capricorn, Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Pisces. So where they is compatible, they Mars is compatible because it's Pisces with Scorpio. Both of them have a water Mars. Um, what is her Venus? Venus in Scorpio, her Venus in the Aquarius, right? So it's air and it's water. So Scorpio and Aquarius is a tricky relationship, but I don't feel like breaking it all down. So we gonna say on the surface it's not compatible. We see that their moon is compatible. They both, well, no, her moon is in Sagittarius, but they still compatible because it's air and fire. Aquarius and Sagittarius go together, so they feelings definitely do go together and is connected with each other. So they feelings definitely is compatible. Mercury and Sun. So we got Sun in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn versus Sun in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius. So Capricorn and Aquarius is also tricky because element wise, it's air versus earth. They not compatible, but Aquarius used to be ruled by Saturn with Capricorn before Uranus was found. So it's kind of the same as like I was saying earlier about Aries and Scorpio. So they both used to be ruled by the same planet. They do have a lot in common. Because I always say that Aquarius is just Capricorn with the twist. And then a lot of Capricorns and Aquarius do share some of the similar traits because Mercury is always going to be the sign that you in or the sign before or after. So a lot of people with Sun in Capricorn, a lot of people with Sun in Capricorn do have a Sun either a Mercury in they gonna have a Mercury in Capricorn, Sagittarius, or Aquarius. Then the same thing, a lot of Aquarius have a Mercury in Capricorn, like I'm a Aquarius and my Mercury is in Capricorn. So that's why a lot of Capricorns and Aquarius can get together. But they different, but then because they not compatible, because on the surface they not compatible also because Capricorns is about structure, Aquarius is about rebellion. So they kind of oppose each other, but like I said, that they both were ruled by Saturn um before, so they do share a lot of the same qualities and traits. And then when we talk about friendships, it's different than relationships. You can be friends with, it's easier to be friends with somebody you're not compatible with versus being in a relationship with them. Because I did have long-term friends. Like one of my long-term friends was a Scorpio. He was a sun in Scorpio, moon in Cancer. I'm a sun in Aquarius, moon in Aries. So on the surface, we not compatible, and we did butt heads a lot, and we wasn't the most free-flowing friendship, but it was still able to work because with friends, you don't have to deal with them all of the time. You know, it's more so about if y'all in the same field or the stuff that y'all is compatible with. So, that always matter. So, where was I? Okay, so we at Saturn now. So Saturn and Scorpio, like I said earlier, Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, and this is Saturn is actually important. So astrology runs deep. I used to didn't value anything after Mars besides the North Node and length, but Saturn is very important because it's your discipline. So a lot of people who this is where actually addictions come from, I'm learning and if you discipline or not, because Saturn rules discipline, hard work, authority. So it's the grown-up planet. So this is going to determine if you good with authority, good with impulse. Saturn is kind of like the brakes. Your Mars is it's the gas. Could look at your Venus, that's the heart, but we talking about a car, so what would be equ- um the equivalent? I mean, well, your sun is actually because that's actually your course. So I guess the sun would be your car. Your Mercury would be the engine. Or would that be your moon? Okay, so now I'm trying to do this off the top of my head, but anyway, but your Saturn is basically your brakes. That's where the discipline comes from, and then So people, the worst planet to have a Saturn in, and I did my research, is Pisces or Aries, especially Pisces, because a lot of people I've looked at that has Saturn and Pisces struggles when it comes to addiction and stopping. Perfect example, um, DMX. People always wonder why DMX wasn't able to stop doing drugs and get off of it. No, my bad. Actually, his is in Taurus, so it was for a different reason because Saturn and Taurus locks in habits, good or bad. So that's my bad. That's why he struck because Taurus fixed Earth, so it can lock in good and it can lock in bad habits. So who is it? It's a lot of people I researched that had a Saturn and Pisces. I know people in my personal life who have Saturn and Pisces that struggle with impulse, but they're trying to think of the famous people that I looked up. Okay, Kurt Cobain had a Saturn in Pisces, J.K. Rowling, Gordon Ramsay, but Kurt Cobain, Bill Cosby. Oh, that's who I'm thinking about. Okay, not DMX. It just hit me. There you go, R. Kelly, Saturn and Pisces. That's who I was thinking about. And we know R. Kelly couldn't stop, even after getting caught, he couldn't stop his impulses. That's part of the reason his Saturn in Pisces. No, Kurt Cobain, Bill Cosby, Bobby Brown, we know. And then common things for Saturn and Pisces, escapism. Pisces is highly sensitive. And when Saturn, the planet of limitation and fear, is in this sign, it can lead to a need to escape through substance use, drugs, or alcohol to deal with fear and overwhelming emotions. Um, Dependency into drug abuse is a way of achieving spiritual or artistic high that Pisces seek. Because Pisces is all about escapism. A lot of Sun in Pisces, Mars in Pisces, Moon in, but like a lot of Pisces, they like to daydream and romanticize. So, Pisces kind of don't live in this world a lot of times. So that can kind of become the problem when it comes to them. So, and then of course the best sign to have Saturn is Capricorn because that's the ruling planet. So a lot of people with Saturn and Capricorn is going to be good when it comes to being disciplined. Displacement strengthens focus on duty, work ethic, and serious long-term planning. There's a strong drive to make a mark in the world, highly responsible, often feel the weight of life on their shoulders, acting as caretakers or leaders. So, these people is more, but it doesn't guarantee because I have a family member who has a Saturn in Capricorn, but his Mars is in Gemini and his moon is in Gemini. So, like I said, it's the breaks and your brakes don't always work, or you can hit your brakes late. Sometimes, you hit your brakes, but you still slip past the red light or stop sign. So it's not as simple as, okay, I got a Saturn and Capricorn, so I'm not gonna make bad decisions. It's just that you're gonna be more cautious of bad decisions. So anyway, but his is in Scorpio. So what it says about Saturn and Scorpio. Oprah Winfrey can be very self-disciplined. Oprah Winfrey has executive ability and is perceptive and extremely capable. Oprah Winfrey may have psychic ability. People may find her difficult to understand because of her reserve, exterior, and secretiveness. Oprah Winfrey's mind may be mechanically orientated and she is resourceful even under the most adverse circumstances, patient and persistent. The action and energy of Mars are combined with the forethought of Saturn in a most wonderful combination. Whatever she does is done with intensity. On the negative side, though, there's a danger of stubbornness, rebellions, lack of forgiveness, resentment, and ruthlessness. Tendencies to grub for money and prestige can cause harm. There can be health problems and constipation of hemorrhoids. There is a need to transform Oprah Winfrey's desires. Oprah Winfrey needs to learn when and how to let go. This also applies to bodily functions. Holding on to anger can cause stones to develop. So we don't know about these health things when they always throw that out there. I don't know if the person get hemorrhoids or their health stuff. I don't know that part of astrology, or that I don't know if it's true or not. Um, but however, let's what else to say? While emotional, they often keep feelings hidden, leading to a calm exterior that masks internal intensity or boiling. So it brings challenges to power, intimacy, and shared finances. They may experience periods where they feel stuck or overwhelmed by their own intensity, requiring them to learn self-discipline without falling into self-loathing. The ultimate goal is transformation, letting go of fear and finding inner strength. So they can be jealous, comparing their achievements to others, have a knack for uncovering secrets. So to confront deep emotional fears, trust issues, and intense transformative life experiences. So it's about learn how to manage and release rather than suppressing and controlling. So we know that. So this problem, this basically saying that this person gonna struggle when it comes to being intense, when it comes to intense, rather when it comes to relationships and things like that. Then her Saturn and Mars lines up with each other, so that's always a good thing because yo, like I said, yo, Mars is your gas, your Saturn is your brakes. So when they in the same sign or they compatible, um it ends up lining up the goal with the brace because, like, if you have, let's say you have a Mars in Aries and a Saturn in Capricorn, you're gonna have a lot of problem you're gonna struggle with the battle of knowing when to go and when to stop. It's gonna be that tug and pull, the same in reverse if you have a Mars in Capricorn, but your Saturn is in Aries. It's gonna be a struggle about when to be strategic versus when to go. So, her Mars and Saturn both balance out each other when it comes to intense. So it can be negative on one side, that she can be overly intense when it comes to relationships and negative things and obsessing over things negative, but then on the positive side, it could help her be a go-getter. Intense when it comes to her job, work, and them type of things. So it can go both ways. Like I always say, when it comes to Scorpio being intense and obsessed, it's all about what you obsessed over. So yeah, that's her Saturn and Scorpio.